Welcome to Cricket World Cup Rewind. My name's Elma Smith. I'm coming to you from my study in Johannesburg, and yay for getting the band back together. We are celebrating the fact that shared in such amazing memories a year ago. Today, the Cricket World Cup Insight is coming to you from our respective homes. Zainab Abbas, where are you and how are you?
Well, Elma, firstly, it's just great to see you because, we haven't had the chance to really connect. And, off the record, I was just saying to Elma that we should do this more often. But I'm in Pakistan. I'm in Lahore. I'm sitting in my lounge currently because that's the area we're using these days, either our rooms or our lounges, to be doing any kind of work calls. It's not so much in person. We're sort of pretty much still in lockdown. I mean, it has been eased off a little, but people are just being very cautious, still being very cautious, and not really having any social gatherings. So, Elma, I think I've never spent this much time at home, to be honest. I'm always on the move. I think this is, my husband cannot complain any longer or ever that, I haven't spent time at home. So, it's great, but it's also a time for all of us to sort of reflect and think about what's happening around the world.
You've had quite a bit of change in your life, and so has Niall O'Brien.
Hi guys, how you doing, Alma? Living on a building site, digging out the kitchen, utility room, pantry, because there's no insulation or anything, so we've got to go 2 foot deep, new footings, new kitchens, new windows, new bathroom.
Yeah, that's pretty major. Gosh.
I'm never moving again. I don't want to move ever again. So I've moved three times last. Yeah, that's me done. I'm done.
Ravina, how are you? It's great to see your face again. What's life been like recently on your side?
Well, thank you so much, Emma. First of all, it's so much fun to see you guys again. Hi, Z. Hi, Niall. Niall has undergone, it seems like, somebody cut his half flesh out. He's 10 kgs down. That's fantastic. Nothing like that has happened with my life. I am pretty much the same. But yeah, like Z said, it's interesting to be locked down in your house for 2.5 months now here in India. And I was literally living out of a suitcase in the past, 1.5 years, because after the Cricket World Cup, then I went to the ICC Women's T20 World Cup. So literally living out of a suitcase, but now the suitcase packed and it's up somewhere in the storeroom, and I am in my home clothes, just chilling all the time at home, and of course watching a lot of cricket. And always keep thinking about what a lovely time we had back at the CWC19.
Okay, well, it definitely made a lasting impact on all of our lives. But if you need just a little refresher of exactly what we had on the menu, what we had to experience and enjoy about a year ago, take a look at this.
I shouldn't call you in this days.
Welcome to everyone, wherever you are.
The wait is finally over.
Let the battle begin.
This should be quite a contest.
All is set for an extravaganza of cricket.
The World Cup is here.
Oh, no way! No way! And smiles all around for the West Indies.
Unbelievable. What a comeback from Pakistan.
Outstanding from Sheldon Cottrell.
Joe Root at his best.
It's World Cup Battle Royale. It's a World Cup hat-trick and it's sealed the game for India.
Carlos Brathwaite, can he? The dream is diminished for Carlos Brathwaite.
Finch gets another century.
Exactly what Australia needed in the last 12 months.
Mitchell Starc in business again.
Pakistan cricket at its best when it's the World Cup, when it's a big event, they turn up.
And he's got it! He's got it! He's got the hat-trick at Lords!
Welcome to Manchester, semi-final time.
New Zealand all over India here.
That's off the chart.
Is this the final?
What a performance from New Zealand.
mouth-watering clash between England and Australia.
What a start from England, what a start from Wokes.
That's up here in the commentary box.
We will have a new name on that cup. England or New Zealand. And expectation palpable. New Zealand won the toss and decided to bat. Yeah, that's out.
It's Plunket again. What a day he's having.
Brilliant all-round performance from England. This is all now about handling pressure.
Could be out. Spectacular.
The highest pressure you'll ever be under in a World Cup final.
What a moment. Is it out of the ground? It is. We're going to a super over. 15 off the super over. 2 from 1. England have won the World Cup by the barest of margins. Absolute ecstasy for England.
Great highlights there, beautiful memories. Awesome to just take a moment and celebrate what happened a year ago. This is Cricket World Cup Rewind, and it's time for us to rewind the clocks to our favorite matches. Zainab, have you got a favorite that stands out? And I'm just off the bat going to say, let's not pick the final, because I'm sure that's certainly one of our top 2 memories for all of us. Have you got another one?
I was actually thinking about it, and I realized that all the New Zealand games that I followed, I think they were all really interesting. It wasn't just the final. I think the game that shocked many of us, and it kind of stayed with me because I was absolutely not expecting that result, was the semi-final between New Zealand and India. I mean, I thought that this is going to be a walk in the park for India. I mean, they'd made only 239 for 8. And then remember, the game was basically delayed by a day because there was rain and there were so many other things that were happening. So we saw that match in 2 halves. And I mean, New Zealand was just incredible that day. You know, Matt Henry running through that top order, KL Rahul and, you know, Rohit Sharma. India's got such a great batting lineup. So for me, that match was a real upset. I mean, it was a bit nippy out there. The conditions were favoring the bowlers. And then we saw the heroics from Ravindra Jadeja. But it probably just was not enough in the end, right? So I think that his match has really stayed with me because, you know, when you talk about upsets in the tournament, that for me was one that a lot of us were, even the next day I remember I met, you know, Riddhi, I met a lot of the people from, you know, just broadcasters from India, and everybody was like in shock. So we were shocked as well because that is not what we were expecting. So I think that was the most memorable match, I guess, for the New Zealand fans. Of course, it was probably not the case for India, but yeah, I mean, it kind of brought in more eyeballs, so to speak, because everybody was like, okay, this tournament is now really getting interesting because we're getting the underdogs to come through to the final.
Right, Jadeja's gone after it.
What a shot from Jadeja. Well, this has been smacked out of the ground. 50 up for Ravi Jadeja.
Biggest moment. Got it. Got it. Jadeja is on his way, and New Zealand have broken the partnership. Got to get him. Directed. Oh, director. Is this the World Cup? It's over. It's over. Latham takes the catch. All the credit in the world goes to that man on screen, Kane Williamson.
Niall, I'm guessing the other semi-final must have been quite precious in your memory.
I'll tell you what, one thing about that game, the India-New Zealand game, Martin Guptill's run out. I don't know if you remember that from the boundary, because MS Dhoni was kind of marshalling the lower order, and we thought maybe MS Dhoni's just going to pull off one last trick out of his sleeve. But Guptill, who had a poor tournament with the bat, ran Dhoni out from the boundary, direct hit, and got his side to the final. But my favourite game, actually, away from the final itself, was Sri Lanka's win over England up in Leeds, because Sri Lanka really had to win. If Sri Lanka lost that game, they were out of the tournament, and England obviously were going to be cruising along. But Sri Lanka winning that game put a bit more pressure on England and brought Sri Lanka back into the possibilities of getting to the knockout stages. So I love that Sri Lanka win. And it was 2 old fogies, really. Malinga getting all the wickets, and Angelo Matthews, who had a really poor start to the tournament, coming good with the bat. He loves playing at Headingley. So the Sri Lanka win over England up in Leeds was a fantastic game.
Redeemer?
Oh. Well, Elma, both of them great games, and especially, of course, India versus New Zealand. You know, it was an ODI that was played over 2 days, so it had a lot of drama. But talking about drama, another match that I was literally at the boundary and I saw it was India versus Afghanistan, and I think that would be my favorite match for two reasons. Number one, I was out there interacting with the fans, and usually, when I was hosting matches, the fans would have a certain rivalry between them. But India and Afghanistan fans had a sense of respect and brotherhood, which was very interesting to see.
Zindabad Afghanistan! Zindabad! Zindabad Ashraf Ghani! Zindabad!
But it was nothing like that on the field because Mohammad Nabi was about to cause the biggest upset of the tournament, I'd say. Because it was India versus Afghanistan. Afghanistan had restricted India to something 224. Mohammad Nabi took two very crucial wickets. I think it was Virat Kohli and KL Rahul. And then with the bat, he put up 50 plus. And of course, then came, Mohammad Shami with that hat trick.
And that's a hat trick. And it's a World Cup hat trick, the second Indian bowler to do it.
And that is what saved us. And, India won by like 11 runs. But all the fans were standing at the boundary. And you remember that we used to go live on Facebook right after the match. So here I've seen Mohammad Shami picking up the last wicket. And I'm still trying to get over the adrenaline and trying to get my tempo down. But boom, we're live on Facebook. And I start screaming and shouting. And, I look at that now and I'm like, what is wrong with me? But it was the excitement of the match. I think that was the best match for me in the tournament. Yeah, clearly.
The thing I wasn't quite prepared for was the interview opportunities that we would get. That wasn't only cricketer interviews. We met so many other amazingly impressive people who were fans of cricket, who had become fans during the tournament. I know the day before the first match at that opening party, I got to meet Malala Yousafzai, yes, because I could just see the photo in my head now that I took with her. And I was not prepared to run into Malala at the Cricket World Cup opening party. That was not one of those things that I had on, a list of people that I hope to run into during this tournament. And it's such
In fact, Selma, I very clearly remember your reaction to that. You were like, I have to get this girl, I have to speak to her. I remember your excitement about it.
Yes, it was just... that was not what I had expected to happen. And I think that we all had those interview moments where you went, I know Rihanna was she at Durham? Zainab, didn't you get to meet her?
Yeah. It was West Indies versus Sri Lanka. Yeah, it was West Indies versus Sri Lanka, which was happening in Durham. So, I mean, she was there. And of course, in the end, we went into the dressing room and, saw her. We didn't really, we took some clips. I didn't really get a chance to personally interview her because you know how it is when there is a match happening and afterwards there's so much chaos. So I could either just speak to her quickly or, it just took a lot of time to be arranging all of that. But it was just incredible to see that. That we have somebody like, a pop sensation come and support cricket, because we often speak about globalizing the sport, right? I mean, this is one way. You need such high profile, celebrities supporting the game as well. But having said that, Elma, that was probably not my favorite moment or interview stories, because I didn't really get a chance to do that. We were all blessed in that way, because wherever we were, there were such high profile players that you got a chance to speak to them, do Facebook Lives, all the commentators. So, you work with them and you get that opportunity as it is. But the one that I personally really enjoyed was that of Brian Lara, because I've just been such a huge fan of his.
Worst taste in music?
Richie Richardson, my former captain. And he had a band on the team. He had like Winston Benjamin, Kenny Benjamin, himself and Kirtley Ambrose, and they were horrible singers. Plus his music choices weren't...
What kind of music did they listen to?
Well, a little bit of reggae, but more like old school reggae. Not even Bob Marley, even before Bob Marley.
He was just such a nice and humble person. And that has really stayed with me. My conversation with him, he was so chilled out, so relaxed. And these are the memories, by the way, that you take home.
It's those random conversations sometimes where you walk away and you go, did I just talk to this person about my love of cats, my love of golf, all of my personal little passions? Redeemer, did you have a moment like that?
Oh, my very first interview, Elma, very first interview at the Cricket World Cup 2019. I remember we were at the press conference, the opening day where all the captains were invited. All of us were there, if you guys remember that. Right? And right after the press conference, I had the Indian skipper Virat Kohli with me. And, there was this child who had asked this question to all the captains. If you were to pick up one captain in your team, who would it be? And so that I got an opportunity to interact with Virat regarding that, as well as it was a very fun and chill interview. We were sitting on a couch. We had the Cricket World Cup trophy right next to us. And I asked him that, how is captaincy post-marriage?
So, there's an interesting question that has popped up on a very lighter note. What is it like to lead a team before getting married and after getting married?
Well, it's got nothing, there's nothing different in my mind because, look, you become more responsible. Yeah. That's what I feel. Before you have responsibility in your life, it's very different from when you have responsibility in your life. You start understanding things much better and you start putting things into perspective a lot more. So yeah, from that point of view, I think I've become more responsible and that helps you in captaincy as well. So yeah, it's only improved my captaincy and me as a human being and as a player, I would say.
I will never ever forget that interview because my first interview and it's with the captain himself. So yeah, that would be my favorite interview.
What did he say? Did he say captain it was easier after marriage or before marriage?
He said that he's improved as a captain after marriage.
Good man.
He's had a sense of responsibility. That's what he said.
Very good. Very good.
Marriage also teaches a sense of diplomacy, but let's just leave that. I'm going to throw that to you. We've all had a few memories that we've treasured and that we've had the opportunity to look back on over last year and go, wow, you know what? That was really special. I'd say that one of my most special lasting memories was playing perfect pairs with Sir Viv Richards and Clive Lloyd and just hearing them, just throwing each other under the bus a bit and, kind of seeing guys that we've all held in such high regard, just being teammates, just being guys and they had such a great sense of humor that they showcased that day.
So you've both got this answer wrong so far about each other.
Well, to be fair, I guess there were some very tricky questions. Much harder than our batting.
Is there a moment, maybe off the pitch particularly, Zainab, that stood out for you?
So, obviously we had, great opportunities and looking back, there were so many wonderful moments. But I'll narrate something which was not so wonderful at that time, but now that when I look back, it was actually quite funny. So remember how we used to do the pre-match shows with, two commentators from the team. So it was Pakistan taking on Bangladesh. It was Pakistan taking on Bangladesh, and the match was happening at Lord's, right? So I am standing, we've got the camera crew, the main cameraman is there. And we're talking about what this game means for Pakistan. Of course, Pakistan is nearly out of the tournament, but, it's all about I had Athers with me and Waz. So Athers is talking about, how this game is so important for the pride and for the people of Pakistan and all that. And we're having this intense conversation, right? And in the middle, I see this ball from the corner of my eye. It's literally flying towards me and it hit my backside.
Anybody comes into a game against Bangladesh, are you all right? Expecting an easy.
I've just been hit by them.
Victory
Is that the kind of mood that they're in today, Athas?
There's Mushfiqur Rahim who's just hammered it, I think.
Well,
sorry, I'm coming there after this ball.
I think I've got a bit of a bruise now.
I turned around in pain and it was Mushfiqur Rahim, having some practice in the back. And immediately, like, but this is a live session, right? So you have to redeem yourself pretty quickly. So Athas is like, oh my God, are you okay? This is, by the way, all on tape. You guys can go and have a look. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. But honestly, guys, I was struggling with pain. I mean, you know how hard. I mean, Niall is going to tell you how hard a ball can actually hit you. So I had a bit of a bruise, but I smiled my way through the entire thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. You know, it's just one of those days, and pretending everything's fine. But looking back, it was so funny because now when I look at the video, I'm like, I mean, such things can happen as well. And as an anchor or as somebody who's leading the show, you have to just kind of pretend like nothing happened and get on with it.
Getting on with it is certainly the name of the game. Niall, a moment, a lasting memory for you?
Well, listen, interacting with all the legends behind the scenes was cool for me. Steve Waugh was my hero growing up, and we were doing a live chat with Steve at Lord's, and our digital guys who are brilliant at what they do, they had to explain to Steve what Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all these things were, and Twitter. So Steve Waugh, who's my absolute hero, one of the best players Australia ever produced, and he was getting an education in social media pretty much live before going on social media. And I was just like, I've looked up this man for such a long time, and now he's learning how to do TikTok or something or Instagram. Yeah, that just made me laugh.
One of my lasting memories is Niall O'Brien.
Oh, yeah.
Silent disco.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. The old disco at Lord's. That was awesome. I love that. I didn't want to go watch any more cricket. I was just like, I'm happy here. I'm happy here in the nursery ground. I'll do me.
Silent disco. If Niall ever needs a 50th birthday idea, that's it right there. Disco Inferno. Redeemer, and yours?
Well, first of all, of course, I have a lot of memories of Niall along with, the Bangladesh fans. I've seen so many videos of him going crazy with the Tigers. That is one memory which is completely etched here. But I think one thing that remained with me, I think post the Cricket World Cup, it was the day before, I believe, India versus England. And India versus England was the One Day for Children match. And one day before, I had the opportunity to go and attend the press conference. And we had the Indian skipper Virat as well as Owen Morgan there. And the entire press conference was conducted by these three children that I remember them. They were called the Playground Pundits. And I believe one of them was called Edward, and there was a girl called Neha.
We're the Playground Pundits, and we're taking over tomorrow's match to help raise money for One Day for Children. I'm Edward, and I'll be your media manager for the day. I'm very excited to introduce India's captain, Virat Kohli.
Hi Virat, I'm Neha. Are you and the Indian team excited for tomorrow's match?
Yes, Neha, thank you for the lovely question. We're very excited. It's a very special occasion, first time that it's been done, and we're very proud that we're a part of such a special game, and we're very excited, and I hope all of you are excited to watch as well.
The funny thing is what happened the next day. We were doing a pre-match, our pre-match interview and a pre-match the little studio setup that we did, and my guest was Saurav Ganguly. And in the whole pre-match, there was a segment where one of the Playground Pundits came in and asked a question to Saurav. When that child walked in and introduced the child, and he went ahead and asked the question to Saurav, his confidence level was way higher than mine. Way higher than mine. And that I will remember for a very, very long time. So I think I remember that day very well. It was such a breath of fresh air because there was so much tension in the air right before that India versus England match. And I was like, okay, this is my comfort zone, watching these children perform. So yeah.
I was actually thinking about that One Day for Children experience and just how well-timed it was, because we were really into the thick of things with the tournament now, and we'd all been on tour for a few weeks, and I got to work on that day as well. And I felt like it was such a good reality check. We were raising money for children, for UNICEF in cricket-playing countries around the world. I have a family member who had been working in Afghanistan, and I knew exactly what we were raising this money for. And it was such a kind of just a bit of a perspective, just getting out of this, this really small cricket bubble that we ended up living in for a few weeks.
Right.
And seeing, kind of cricket doing a little bit more of the world around us. Up next,
I remember you had an interview with Sachin Tendulkar regarding that as well.
Yes, yeah, we got to chat to Sachin and get the all-important photo with the man himself.
One of the most widely loved and celebrated cricketers is here with us, Sachin Tendulkar. Thank you so much for joining us. It's One Day for Children. Tell me about this initiative and your role as ambassador.
I think One Day for Children is one initiative which both UNICEF and ICC both have come together, and we want to push this as much as we can because it is for the betterment of all the children across the globe who are less fortunate.
Next up, I have a challenge for you guys. Let's see who can go fetch this item from where it might be in their house and return to the screen the quickest. Oh, that's my cat. Frank is just waking up. Okay, so the item I need you to go collect, and Niall, best of luck to you, is...
Oh, absolutely no chance. I have absolutely no chance. I have no chance.
And Zainab, do you want to see who can get their hands on their own accreditation and be back here the quickest?
Yes, okay, all right. My accreditation, I'm going to go get it.
Okay.
It is somewhere here itself.
I got married, remember?
My accreditation.
Houses, so
I'm going to go get it.
I'll still go and see where it is.
I'll
still go in the spirit of things.
Go for it. So, Niall, is your stuff in storage? Is it in a garage somewhere? Where is your accreditation stack?
Guys, it's somewhere here. Do you see these accreditations right here?
Oh,
so,
that's fantastic.
CWC19 should be somewhere here.
Wow.
That is fantastic.
I see the orange ribbon.
I remember me and Z had ribbon. Here you go. I found it. Can you see it?
No, that's the wrong one.
That's it. That's not it.
That's not it.
So, one thing that people probably don't know is that these things made us reshoot our content so often. You had to take it off, and if someone around you didn't remind you that you were still wearing this thing, this would be in shot and the content wouldn't be able to be used. So these accreditations, while we love and treasure them now, they did cause us a lot of headaches. Zainab, did you find yours?
Well, it was not exactly the same one, but this one is from Australia versus Pakistan and hospitality or something like that. Some cricket World Cup one, but I can't remember. It's not the exact same one, but it has some, World Cup significance.
It's when you blagged yourself into hospitality. Look at that.
Yeah.
Who would want to get the food over there? The food and hospitality is just amazing.
Which ground though? Which ground?
I'm sure.
This was Taunton, Australia, Pakistan. Taunton.
The best food.
I'm sure you remember the food at Edgbaston.
Yes, Edgbaston has the best food.
Edgbaston has the best food.
Edgbaston wins for all of the food, and Lords wins for the baristas, the coffee at Lords.
Yes.
I dream of that.
That was amazing. I've never drunk so many cappuccinos.
Most definitely. Thank you so much for joining in. It was great to catch up with all of you. Make sure that if you've been watching this and you have some of your own memories, you share that with us on our respective social media platforms. And you can also relive the best moments at icc-cricket.com in our World Cup Rewind. We are celebrating the fact that we all got to share in such great cricketing memories a year ago in England and Wales for Cricket World Cup 2019. From all of us insiders, make sure that you keep checking in with us online, and hopefully we'll all be pitch side somewhere in the world someday soon. Cheers.